You've now heard the stories of some of the horrors that these women go through.
Many of them say that they're victimized once again when it comes to the legal system, arrests and lengthy records that make it hard to move on.
So let's bring in 5 Investigates' Mike Beaudet again. Mike?
Ed and Maria, it seems these women are anything but the picture of hardened criminals. But we found that's just how some police departments here are still treating prostituted women, targeting them instead of the men whose money is keeping the world's oldest profession in business.
You know, I would get into a guy's car and then, be pulled over by the police, and essentially I would go to jail. And they would tell him that they don't want to see him in this neighborhood again.
He got to leave.
Yeah, he gets to drive away and go home.
It happened to Nikki Bell when she worked the Track in Worcester, a place where people come to buy and sell sex in the city. And she's heard the same story from some of the women she now helps to get out of the life as CEO of Lyft, which works to empower survivors of sexual exploitation in central Massachusetts. She says arresting the women just doesn't make sense.
The demand is what drives all of this, right? A pimp isn't going to sell a woman if nobody's going to buy her. You're not going to stand on a corner if nobody's going to come to pick you up, right? So it's like very clearly like that's where our effort should be focused.
The prostitution trade plays out in hotels, massage parlors, and sometimes out on the streets. It's a two-way transaction. But our analysis found some police departments are still mostly targeting one side.
We analyzed 5 years of prostitution charges from about half the counties in the state and found 60% of the people charged with prostitution are women. The disparity is far wider in some cities. In Lawrence and Lowell, about 80% of those charged are women. In Haverhill and Salem, more than 90% of people charged with prostitution are women.
I think that should concern anybody who cares about how women are being treated in Massachusetts or in our country, that this is absolutely unacceptable.
Professor Emily Rothman studies commercial sexual exploitation at Boston University's School of Public Health.
Does that sort of fuel the problem by not targeting the men who are buying the sex?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, often the case that they're often living in poverty or they felt like they had no other options. And when that's happening, the last thing that they need is a criminal record on top of it.
Dozens of police reports show officers targeting women. Some are homeless, drug users, or mentally ill. One telling police says she's being arrested, she hates that she is a prostitute. Other police departments are moving away from targeting prostituted women. In Worcester, where Nikki works, the department charged more women than men in 2017. But in 2018, that number went the other way, with police charging 96 men and 33 women.
When you see women involved in prostitution, how do you view them?
As victims.
Cambridge police say they target the men paying for sex and the traffickers who are selling it in hotel rooms and massage parlors in their city.
In my experience, most of these females are in this type of work for reasons that they've been forced into.
We also found that once a case gets to court, women are less likely to get the prostitution charge dismissed than men, and more likely to get a guilty finding.
He is married with 2 children.
You're hearing from the attorney for an accused sex buyer who got a break when the case went to court. His client is also an attorney, and his license to practice law is at risk after getting caught in a Boston police sting operation.
I have statements from various charities and groups that he works with to show that he is a very good member of the community.
The alleged sex buyer wants his criminal case converted to a civil offense, like a parking ticket, and he wants it done before he's arraigned to keep the charge off his criminal record. The prosecutor argues against it.
But I would suggest that the societal harms that are perpetuated by agreeing to pay for sexual intercourse in the eyes of the Commonwealth call for punishment greater than such a lenient civil disposition.
But the judge sides with the accused sex buyer.
I consider it in the interest of justice to adopt a motion that counsel has filed on behalf of his client. And it's for those reasons that the motion is allowed.
It doesn't sit well with Nikki Bell.
I think the solution is to hold men accountable that pay for sex.
Bell says it's time for police to stop targeting prostituted women.
Because that's how we've been handling this issue for many, 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 many years, right? Yet there's still a prostitution problem.
Lawrence police tell us the female prostitutes are more visible, so they draw more complaints, and that they do sometimes do stings on the male sex buyers, but it's more difficult and expensive. Salem and Haverhill both say they are sensitive to the plight of prostituted women and sometimes use the courts to try to get them help.
And you actually found that prostitution and trafficking, it's not the same in every city.
It's not. So in a lot of places, they don't deal with street prostitution, but some places do. So in Boston, it's really moved indoors into hotels and massage parlors as opposed to seeing those prostitutes out on the street.
So you just can't send an undercover officer to get solicited from a woman, therefore, and use that type of an operation.
Exactly. Right? So the investigative techniques have changed in certain cities because technology has changed where this is happening.
All right, Mike.